Democrats. You are gangsters. You are gangsters.
You're washed up.
Fuck you.
Fucking Nero! You're a little punk! You're a softie! You're a nobody! Your movies suck! You're trash!
All right, earlier today, the Trump trial in Manhattan resumed. This should be the last week. This should go to jury. We might even get a verdict this week. And as you know, Donald Trump has been speaking to the media before each and every trial date, or court date, I should say. And lately, for the last couple of weeks, he's been bringing a posse with him of Congress people, media personalities to speak to the media during the trial, during a recess. Well, Democrats are out of their mind. They can't believe that Trump is actually getting good publicity and positive poll numbers because the American people are seeing how ludicrous this trial is. So they decided they had to jump on board. They had to put on their own show for the media, and they called out the big guns. Oscar winner and completely unhinged New Yorker, Robert De Niro. Here he was walking up. Walking up to the press avail. He's surrounded by police officers from January 6th, including, see that tall, sort of Zoftic, bald man there? That's Harry Dunn. He was a cop on January 6th. He got caught in several lies about what he did that day. In fact, his lies were so bad that he couldn't even win the Democrat nomination for Congress in Maryland, despite the fact that Nancy Pelosi endorsed him. I know this because, boy, did I dodge a bullet. He would have been my congressman if he had won that nomination. You see some other J6 cops there, and you recognize them, of course, from their committee appearances. And there's Robert De Niro right in the middle, walking down the middle of a sunny street in Manhattan, wearing a mask. Wearing a face mask. Now, is he worried that COVID-19? Look at, he's talking to these guys. Does he think that they have COVID? Is that the problem? Is he wearing the mask because he thinks that the microphones he's about to talk to are infected? No, actually, he takes off the mask when he talks to the microphones. Does he think that the streets stink so bad in New York that he's got to cover that? Is he doing a Michael Jackson impersonation? What in the hell is wrong with this guy? What is wrong with all of these liberals that continue to wear the masks on a bright, sunny May afternoon in Manhattan? What kind of moron is he? Don't answer that. It's rhetorical. Trump's spokesperson kicked things off by lying to everybody. Listen to this doozy.
First of all, let me say this first and foremost. We're not here today because of what's going on over there.
Okay, what's going on over there is the trial. We're not here because of the Trump trial. That's a complete and total lie. He's full of crap. Of course that's why they're there. We're not here because Trump's on trial. Oh, okay. What, you're there because there's like a new manhole being installed? All right, I'll let the whole clip run. I'm sorry, Kevin. I interrupt too much.
First of all, let me say this first and foremost. We're not here today because of what's going on over there. We're here today because you all are here. And so we are glad that you're all here this morning. We're here primarily because of the threat that Donald Trump poses to the United States of America.
Oh, yes, it's a threat. All right, now listen, think about what he just said. We're not here because of the trial. We're here because the media is here. In other words, we can't get any media on our own. We need to go wherever Trump is because you care more about him than you care about our candidate. Where is your candidate? He's taking a nap. Don't worry about it. But I got Robert De Niro. And what a mess this thing is from the onset. All right, one other quick doozy from this guy. This is great because somebody in the crowd of reporters starts asking questions that are uncomfortable for the spokesperson.
Do you consider Trump a threat to all these wars Biden has gotten us into?
I don't know if you heard that. It's off mic. Do you consider Trump a threat to all the wars that Biden has gotten us into? All right, let's just keep it side by side here so I can translate.
Is this a weaponization of the Justice Department, sir?
Any media questions?
You want to answer the real questions, only the fake news?
So on the first one, is Trump a threat to the wars Biden's gotten us into? We got any other questions? And is this the weaponization of the Justice Department? And then he says, any media question. So apparently these are just Trump supporters who were like, hey, I'll ask a question. No. We're only here to answer questions from the New York Times and the Washington Post. And is Jim Acosta here? Please, somebody bring me Jim Acosta. They're just so bad. This is embarrassing. It's a mess. And it gets worse. Here he is, Robert. And so Robert De Niro spoke for like 9 minutes. I don't want to. The first part of it, he talks about what a threat Donald Trump is, not just to this country, but to all of humanity. He talks about some story from 20 years ago that happened with the Tribeca Film Festival and his interactions with Donald Trump, which, by the way, exposes the fact that Robert De Niro has some 20-year grudge with the man that he's decided to trot out here. And let's not also forget, Robert De Niro is the guy who at the Tony Awards, these are the awards for Broadway theater, he shows up to give out an award and then starts dropping F-bombs about Donald Trump because he thinks that Donald Trump doesn't have any decency. And he's there on primetime television dropping F-bombs while I'm watching the Tony Awards with my 10-year-old. But Trump's decency is the problem. All right, so we'll pick up Robert De Niro about 2 or 3 minutes into his remarks because it just goes on for so long. And I'll let it run as long as I can before I start to lose my patience. Notice also, by the way, the cop behind, that's a January 6th Capitol Police officer. Get his name now. He had his 15 minutes of fame when he was testifying before the committee. He's got tats. He's got a throat tattoo. He's all tatted up all over the place. I've met a lot of cops in my life. This guy is tatted up like he's some sort of like either a gang member or a special ops dude. I swear to you, I've never seen a cop with it. I have seen some people in the military with tats, but not up above the collar, certainly. There's something with this dude. Anyway, here he goes. Here's Robert De Niro with another Oscar-winning performance on the streets of Manhattan. Oh, and pay close attention to how he's heckled. Because these guys are outnumbered in Manhattan by Trump supporters. Here we go.
Somehow he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution and on January 6th rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed. But it's a coward's violence. You think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside? No way. He doesn't get blood on his hands. No, he doesn't. He directs the mob to do his dirty work for him by making a suggestion.
I'm pretty sure at this point, Robert De Niro believes that he's in a Martin Scorsese film. Do you notice the dialogue? He is reading, by the way. So I wonder if somebody wrote this for him. Does he think that he's reliving like The Godfather Part 4 now? Because honestly, Part 3 was such a disaster. They probably shouldn't go there. He's talking about, get the mob to do it for you. He doesn't get his hands bloody. He doesn't do this. Later on, he's going to use a forget about it. I mean, dude's been hobnobbing with Hollywood hotshots for like decades now. You really think that he talks like that naturally? This is an act. He's put all this on. I mean, please. He owns restaurants and puts on a film festival in Tribeca, don't you know? But he's putting on the tough guy act, right? Because this is what New Yorkers expect or something. I don't know. The man's a thespian in every sense of the word. And you can tell by this act that he's performing. He's performing for the cameras. And what does an actor do for a living? I mean, when everything is boiled down to the nuts and bolts of their craft and their profession, what is an actor's job? What are they trained to do? To lie. To lie to you. They're good at it. They make you think it's real. And what he's reading here, I guess you can believe it if he's good enough as a liar. But that doesn't make it true. Not by a long shot. Forget about it.
An inference. And his gang grovels and follows his obvious order. It's no surprise that the murder rate and other violent crimes peaked under Trump and are falling under Biden. And now he's promising to use our own military to attack U.S. citizens. That's the tyrant.
That, of course, is a lie, but I do feel like since no one in the media will jump in, I should. Of course, Donald Trump has never promised to use our military to attack citizens. I don't know where he's getting that. There is absolutely zero truth to it whatsoever. In fact, it was Joe Biden this weekend at the commencement address for the military academy at West Point who made a veiled threat to American citizens with the United States military, reminding them that their oath is to protect the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, he made a point in saying, after referring to a letter that was sent by some West Point graduates to the cadets before Donald Trump gave a speech 4 years ago. Anytime they blame us or Trump or you of doing something, it's really quite usually, almost 100% of the time, something that they do. All right, back to De Niro.
That's the tyrant he's telling us he'll be. And believe me, he means it. When Trump ran in 2016, it was like a joke. This buffoon running for president. No, never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators. With Trump, we have a second chance. And no one is laughing now. This is the time to stop him by voting him out once and for all. We don't want to wake up after the election saying, what, again? My God, what the hell have we done?
So it will be at this point, since this has obviously turned into a political speech and a call for people to vote, this would be a great moment. And I want to point out and remind you that a spokesperson for the Biden campaign arranged this. This is a campaign event. It was opened and introduced by a spokesperson on the payroll of the Joe Biden re-election campaign. And clearly, he's talking about election day and about voting and all that. So now would be a great time with the cameras and microphones of the world media focused on him for Robert De Niro to extol the virtues of Joe Biden and tell everyone in this nation all of the great things Joe Biden has done and why he needs 4 more years. We got to keep this greatness rolling because 4 more years of Biden is just going to be the medicine our nation needs to fix anything that's wrong because he's done such a great job so far, right? Because this is the moment for the campaign to extol the virtues of their candidate and their policies. So let's see what he does with this moment.
We can't have that happen again. Yesterday was Memorial Day. It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us by a democratic government. A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
Now, I don't know if somebody triggered that car alarm on purpose to disrupt the press conference, or if this is just New York being New York. But the rest of this is just hilarious because De Niro's trying to speak over a car alarm while he attempts to terrify the American people that Donald Trump, should he be elected, will never leave office. In fact, he said it 3 times, so it's got to be true. He will never leave. He'll never leave. He'll never leave. I got to ask you, if they really truly believe this and Trump does win in November, do you have any idea how ugly they're going to get? I mean, think about it. Think about it for a second. If you in your heart truly believed that the person who just got elected president is not going to leave office and is going to become dictator for life, what would you be willing to do to keep that from happening, to keep him from assuming office? I mean, we know how unhinged these people are. We know they've got their Antifa mobs at their disposal. We saw what they did at Trump's inauguration 7 years ago. These people are dangerous. They frequently call for uprisings in the streets. And now they're laying down this marker that they can't walk back. 8 years ago when Trump was running, we've got the reels of all of them saying he's never going to win. He's not going to win. He's not going to win. That's not going to happen. He'll never be president. And then he won. So now they need to ump their ante. And now they got to make him a tin pot dictator who will never leave office. And what evidence of that do they have? What proof do they have? Literally nothing. Literally nothing. You see, when Trump wins this November, he will be serving out his second and final term, right? See, last time when he was quite sure, and many of us were quite sure, that there was something wrong with how the election played out in many of the states, he attempted through constitutional means and through the courts and through Congress, which is the constitutional process that has been employed in the past to contest election, to challenge the ballots. But when that failed, he left office. There is literally no evidence that Donald Trump, not even a hint of evidence that Donald Trump won't leave office. But this is what they've got now. As I said, this is the moment where Robert De Niro can now extol the virtues of his candidate and the great policies that Joe Biden's brought, and they got nothing. All they got is to try to terrify you. He's trying to make you pee your pants. He thinks he's in Taxi Driver. Like I said, he even threw in a forget about it. And this guy, thank you, fabulous chat room there and the live chat at Rumble. Yeah, Fanon, this guy with the neck tattoo. Even he's bored. Look at him. He's looking at the ground. He's sort of shuffling his feet. He knows this is all crap. All right, he's almost done here.
I hope this new ad campaign reaches outside the bubble to remind supporters of what a danger he is to our lives. This is not a threat. This is a reality. And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice. On January 6th, while Republican lawmakers despicably tried to keep the loser Trump, in the White House, and Trump-inspired insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, brave men and women from law enforcement put their lives on the line to defend this country, our democracy. They are the true heroes. These guys are the true heroes. They stood and put their lives on the line for these lowlives, for Trump.
They lied under oath.
They lied under oath. Who lied under oath? What are you telling me?
All right, so now I don't know if you caught that or not, again, because it's off mic and we got the car alarm that's still going. That's Robert De Niro calling people who support Trump lowlifes, by the way. Hope you caught that. And as he refers to the two police officers, somebody in the crowd says they lied under oath. And De Niro didn't get it. He was like, they lied under oath. And then he paused for a minute and said, wait a minute, who are you talking about? And by the way, Harry Dunn, it's been proven, not by, this is not some urban legend. He lied about what happened on January 6th. He claimed that he was, distraught, that he was serving mentally anguished, that he sat there and was praying to God in fear. And there's video of him yucking it up and joking around with his fellow cops. It wasn't until he saw that this was a ticket to fame, fortune, and maybe even political office, even though he just lost in a humiliating defeat in the Democrat primary, that he changed his story. So, and you can see Fanon's face here. after being told that he lied under oath. So now watch how this plays out, because De Niro's a tough guy, you know. He plays one on TV.
Excuse me?
Those two traitors behind you.
They lied under oath? What are you saying? They're traitors. You gotta, I don't know, I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to deal with you. They stood there, they didn't have to. And there were other ones in there who probably were in with them a little bit too, and they found a way to get around. Not these guys. They stood there and fought for us, for you. For you.
They weren't fighting for me.
No, they fought for you, buddy. You're able to stand right here now. They are the true heroes. I'm honored to be with these two heroes today, from former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn and former Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone.
All right, so that's what happens when Robert De Niro doesn't have a script to work with. That was his ad-libbing. That was his improv. That was working without a script. It didn't go well for him. They lied under oath, said the man. And all Robert De Niro could say was, I don't know how to deal with you. Okay, how about facts? How about the truth? And then did you hear also he suggested that some of the other police officers like ran and hid, but those guys stood? I'm curious. There's a lot of Capitol Hill police officers who were there that day who did deal with some harrowing situations. They're still wearing the uniform. They're still doing their job. He just said former police officers, former Capitol Hill police officer Harry Dunn, former Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone. I'm just curious. Has it ever occurred to Robert De Niro or anybody else to ask, why are they former? Why didn't they stay in the force? Why didn't they continue to serve and fulfill their duty that was so important to them? Right? I mean, they weren't the only cops there. They were just the ones who were willing to go before the committee and tell a story that the committee really wanted to hear. And then they decide to leave the force. Is it possible that when they went back on the job to put the uniform on and do their job, their brothers and sisters in uniform would give them a bit of a hard time because they were showboating and not telling the truth and, yes, lying under oath? Is it possible that they're no longer cops because now they found a way to find fame and fortune with other paths and other opportunities because they're celebrities in the Democratic Party's pantheon? Is it possible that maybe a whole lot of deep-pocketed Democrats with a lot of money to support the party through political action committees are supporting them and affording very fancy haircuts and brand new, lovely silk shirts? Is that possible? Not to mention funding a failed congressional campaign. I'm just curious. I'm just asking questions over here. If you don't have an answer, forget about it. After the press conference, Robert De Niro left with his party, and more of the crowd started heckling him. You might like this moment.
The Democrats, you are gangsters. You are gangsters. You're Fuck you.
Fucking traitor! You're a little punk! You're a softie! You're a nobody! Your movies suck! You're trash! You're trash! You're done! You're done after this guy's died! You're done!
That didn't end well. I think De Niro and the Biden campaign really thought that they were going to enjoy a lot of New Yorkers. I mean, hey, everyone in New York loves Robert De Niro. There's going to be crowds screaming and cheering him on. This is going to be fantastic. Boy, did this flop in its face. It is perfect with, as De Niro, like the unhinged lunatic that he appears to be, leaves the street screaming profanities at another New Yorker who dares to disagree with him politically. And the guy with the MAGA hat with a deep Brooklyn accent says, your movies suck. You're a loser. Just another day in New York. Thanks, Democrats. Thanks for bringing this trial to us and really uplifting the dialogue here in the American public. We really appreciate it. And it's good to know that Robert De Niro's literally part of your campaign now. It's all an act. It's all a movie. This whole damn thing is a movie.